So when we talk about Google, there's in this link a couple of different characters that can be used to help you search. Some of these you probably already know about. Quotation marks are pretty common, but normally at this point I would ask people, what exactly that means, and since I can't do that real time, I'll just tell you that that actually looks for the entire phrase within the quotation marks. The minus sign operates as the word not. The tilde, some of you didn't even probably know what that was called, but that's over there usually next to the number 1 on your keyboard. That also can be helpful for you to use. And so if you click on any one of these, it'll tell you what exactly it does. So in this case, the tilde takes the word immediately following it and searches for both that specific word and the word synonym. So if you did inexpensive, cheap, affordable, low cost, so that would probably be a character that would broaden your search and give you more results. And so that might be one way to go about searching for things when you're looking in general. Maybe there's many words that mean the same thing. So there could be a reason, there could be a function for where that's useful. The word or becomes obviously a way to go about expanding your search. And so that's the point, is that with each of these characters, you want to take a look at these and then find out, in general, does it broaden your search and make it wider, so that you'll get more results, or is it going to narrow it? And so traditionally, there's 3 Boolean operators that have always been used to try to narrow searches, and that is and, the word and, the word or, and the word not. And so the word and, strangely enough, is going to narrow your search, because you're going to be looking for item number 1 plus and item number 2. So you're looking for both of those things. And if you add in quotation marks, for example, around item number 1, maybe it's a phrase or something like that, that's going to make it even more narrow. So this goes back to that very first step of the research process that I identified on Tuesday. You need to know what it is that you're searching for. You need to have that angle specifically identified. Think keywords, think key phrases that could be useful for then going into Google and entering your search, so that you have the most efficient strategy. So that's the reason, for doing this as a process and having that conversation before this. So if we go in here, I mean, you know my name. So if you just typed in my name, and I'll do that, it's not because I'm a narcissist, I swear. It's because for me, I already know what's going to pop up. And so, or at least I have a pretty good idea what's going to pop up. So yeah, when you look at this, the first option that pops up is this dude. Well, now that doesn't exactly look like me, down does it? So, and also I was not born in 1974. I am older than most of you, but, this guy would be 41, I'm 32. So, yeah, when you look at this, if you clearly because you've seen me, you at least have a passing rapport with me at this point. Some of you more than others. The point is that red flag, that's not him. This is not the right guy, and so you would know then that any information isn't going to be relevant to whatever it is that you're writing about me. No, I am not the current editor and founding publisher of Slice New York, a web blog devoted to the subject of pizza. I do like pizza, and I eat a lot of it, more than I probably should, but that is not me. You know this, but there's going to be times where you're going to search for somebody and you're not going to have that rapport. You're not going to have that past knowledge. So how do you know? Well, this is where knowing more information about the person could be helpful. For example, what if you just put in my middle initial? Now all of a sudden, oops, that guy went away. So here, let's see, when we were in the original search, we were at, 383,000. Now we brought it down to about 236,000 just from one middle initial. And, you might say, well, how am I supposed to know your middle initial? I don't cyberstalk you. Well, I gave you my middle initial in the syllabus. So this is where you need to be resourceful. And if you bothered to look at the instructor information in the syllabus, you'd find that. You'd find that my middle initial is given there. And so if we added quote marks around that, so now we're looking not just for all things Adam, and it goes into all those nodes, all those spiders, and finds all things Adam, all things with just the single letter J, and then all things Cuban, if you put the quote marks around it, it's going to look for that sequence, that phrase. And when we do that, now we're down to 401 results. So we just narrow things pretty quickly just from knowing how to use a couple of characters. You know, I don't know if this will work the way I hope it would, but if you did the minus sign in pizza, let me see what happens there. Okay, it didn't narrow things that much more, but it did take things down a little bit further. So, you know, again, the minus sign functions as the word not, one of the traditional Boolean operators. And so when you put minus pizza, you know, because we know now that there's another guy out there that has my first and last name, but not the same middle initial, we can put minus pizza to further narrow the results. You know, it's just a matter of knowing that this option is available to you. That's really what we're trying to do here. So yeah, this is, you know, what comes up for me. And then, okay, it starts with my Twitter account. Then here's my Ball State faculty. I've got a Storify account. There's an article I wrote for Red Tail Land Conservancy. A GoFundMe account connected to a depression project I did with students last spring. So, I mean, the bottom line is that all these search results are about me. And so you don't have to sift through the results in order to figure out what's relevant and what's not if you were doing a story about me in some capacity. Okay? Now, I'm going to take it you know, away from me at this point, just to make my point. Let's see here. Okay. I swear there's a reason why we're searching for this guy. And the link comes up. Yeah, okay. This guy used to be my boss when I worked in a newsroom in Davenport, Iowa. I was part-time broadcast reporter, part-time meteorologist. And Chris was my boss in the weather center of the newsroom, of the news station. And so now he's over in Portland, Oregon. But, and yes, I recognize this because that's what he looked like then, and he looks pretty much about the same now. I don't know. I'm guessing he might have shot up a little bit here, a little Botox, perhaps. But anyway, I digress. Point is that this is Chris, this is my boss. However, whoops, wrong one. If you go back, and what if you accidentally misspelled his last name, so instead of M-C-G-I-N-N-E-S-S, which is correct, what if you accidentally put in a U in there? Whoops. So now we're talking about apparently an American professional baseball player, a free agent who made his debut with the Texas Rangers. Okay, didn't know that. But now look, all these references, again, one letter difference. So I'm trying to make a point to you that, you know, you need to have things spelled correctly. You need to make sure you have all your ducks in a row, all your information. You need to have that angle clearly explicated before you start even going into searches, because it's going to make your time more efficiently used when you have all that information correct and verified in the first place. I don't even know, I mean, if we were to go forward, I don't even know if my guy, my boss, would even come up. I mean, at least I'm not seeing anything in the first two pages. Yeah. So, I mean, that U that I entered up there made a huge difference in the search results. So, you know, again, part of this is on you. The Google algorithm can only do so much. It can only do, you know, with what you give it. So make sure you give it correct information up front. All right, so then what if we did a couple of other things, some of these other tools? What if we did swimming? Yeah, let's do swimming with dolphins. See what that gives me. Okay, 30 million results. Not bad. What if we did, oops, minus C minus world? I'm not interested in SeaWorld, but I am interested in swimming with dolphins. Wow. Okay, I mean, we still have over 700,000 to work with. That's a lot, so we probably need to narrow it further. However, it's interesting that it went from 30 million, I think, on the last attempt without these operates to try to narrow the result list, you know, down to 700,000. That's pretty good. Let's see if adding quotes around this makes a difference. Yeah, that further cut it in half, down to 362,000. So, you know, the minus sign, the word not, that's going to be pretty helpful. And I do think, let's see here, database questions. Yeah, traditional Boolean operators, we've answered that. What is their purpose? I think you got the idea there. Other operands, I just showed you a couple, so that's good. So hopefully that should answer at least those first three questions in that database document that is in Blackboard. So, I mean, the idea here is that I just want you to understand some of the ways that Google can be helpful if you're aware. And so this was a Time Magazine article from last December 2014 that talks about a couple other strategies you may not be aware of. So quotes, we talked about that. An asterisk within the quotes to specify an unknown or variable words. So it sounds to me like if you're not exactly sure, but you're looking for variations of the phrase, you know, that might be helpful. You know, imagine all the blank living for today. And maybe, to me, this sounds like if you can't remember like a lyric to a song or something like that, you can enter what you do remember, put some asterisks in there, and hopefully it'll help you out and find what it is that you're looking for. You know, maybe if you're trying to remember an actor who was in a certain movie, I don't know, this has happened to me before, and it drives me absolutely batty when I can't remember an actor or an actress in a movie. You know, that might be a way to try it, help for it. There is a way, oh, well, I just showed you the minus sign. There's that one. Websites for keywords, I don't know. You could do it that way. Otherwise, I probably just search for, you know, the title of the website, and it'll probably pop up for you. I looked at this. There is a news archive apparently within Google that goes back to the 1880s, but I don't find it very helpful. It's not all that encompassing. I mean, I don't know that the historical Google archive is as robust as the contemporary search that we just did, for example. I'm not impressed, but apparently it is there. Oh yeah, the comparing foods. I didn't even know this was out there. So yeah, like if you're trying to figure out what you want to do in the atrium for lunch, all right, let Google do it for you and figure out here, okay, you know, what are we dealing with here? Caloric intake, what's our fat? You know, what would be the better option of maybe a list of not so great options that you have downstairs? But, you know, take a look at this. You know, take a look at that to see, you know, what you have to work with. And then, okay, well, this is pretty generic, 14-inch regular crust pizza. There are some options. It's not, again, exhaustive. You know, so DiGiorno, that's frozen pizza. Domino's, there's an option there. I don't even know what the hell Kashi is. I'm not sure what that is. Little Caesars is in here, but obviously, you know, they're missing other pizza brands. So it's not all encompassing, but that might be helpful for you to get a more specific answer. And then same thing over here on the burger. I don't know that I've ever been to a Big and Tasty, but Burger King I know. Loma Linda, yeah, I've never been there either. McDonald's is in here. Okay, so, and you know, again, it kind of depends on, you know, which corporations have given their information to be used within the search for Google, but you know, you kind of get the idea. I'm going to guess some of you didn't know that that was an option for you. Oh, you can use the word define. So if you don't know, define, sanctimonious. Yeah, just a word that came to mind. You know, then it pops up a definition right here to, you know, define that for you. So that's another way that you can use Google. And so, yeah, like obviously you probably know too that if you're looking for something, you know, we'll go back to me just because I'm curious. Do a real-time check, make sure that I got good stuff in here. You know, images, can look in there and see, you know, what pops up for me on images. News, that's another function, you know, to see what we get in here. I'm not sure why. I'd have to look at these results more carefully because I don't know. I'm curious if these characters are really working here. And that's another good point to make. Not all of these characters are going to work and function even within the variants of Google, because I'm looking at this and some of this stuff has nothing to do with me, and yet it still came up when I click on the news function. So not all characters work the same in all databases. That might be a very interesting takeaway point for the end of this second part of the screencast video. But I think, yeah, I'll wrap it up here. Google, I definitely wanted to explore it. I definitely wanted to dissect it a little bit more for you because I know that we all use it, and there's some functions there that you might not be aware of that could make your search more strategic.